Everybody thinks about the teenage years, and they place a lot of emphasis on the teenage years, and there's nothing wrong with that. The teenage years are tricky to navigate as a kid, as a parent. But 9 to 12 don't get enough attention. 9 to 12 sets us up for the teenage years. 9 to 12 have their own challenges. And so he's right on the cusp between these two stages of development. What he needs right now is a lot of relationship, because you're moving in your role as a parent. He's 12. So in the next 10 years of parenting, he's going from 12 to 22. Your role as a parent is going to be going from giving instruction to having influence. Right now, you just give instructions, kids got to follow them. When they're 15, 16, 17, your instruction shifts, and it's much more influence that you have. If you want your influence to matter, relationship is your bridge to get there. And so this guy needs more relationship. He needs it. If I'm going to assume a mom and a dad in this situation, and if that's the case, he needs relationship with both parents. If we're just talking about a single mom or a single dad, okay, then you're going to be what he needs in that situation. But at 12, he's starting to ask questions about, what does it mean to be a man? What does it mean to be a young man? And both mom and dad have an important role to play in a young man's life. But dad has a unique role to play. Dad is going to be the tour guide into manhood because he's done it. Mom hasn't done it. Mom has a very important role to play as well. She's just as vital. It's just a different role to play. And we want to have her having a teaching role in his life in the teenage years. But dad really is the tour guide into manhood. And so we really want to deepen the relationship between both mom and son and dad and son. And so that's going to be a big priority. A couple of ways to deepen relationship. Get into his world, invite him into your world. Get into his world. What do we mean? What is he into? What does he like to do? Those are the things you now like to do. If there's a kid who likes to play basketball, go shoot hoops with him for a while. Even you're like, I can't run around, so that's fine. Shoot from the foul line together, but do something. If he's into video games, grab controller number 2 and start playing with him. I have no idea. I'm just going to punch the buttons. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, sit next to him and watch him play for 10 minutes. And before you leave, ask a couple questions about the game so you understand it a little bit, and tell him how impressed you are with how well he's doing. But find ways to take interest in what he's interested in. Listen to what he wants to talk about and take an interest in those things. That's how you get into his world. Now, invite him into your world. What that looks like is you bring him into your interests and your jobs. So bringing him to the store with you when you got to go run an errand, having him help you prep dinner, just doing chores and stuff together, helping him with his chores as well. Take the opportunity to do that. One of the things we do around here, every kid has a night where they cook dinner. Yes, my 5-year-old and my 18-year-old, everybody in between, has a night where they cook dinner. Obviously, that looks a little different based on the ages. And so that's a night, though, that whatever parent is making dinner that night, that kid gets to spend time with them. So we have built-in natural spend time with me time. And if a kid misses their night for some reason, boy, they look for some other time to do it, because it's about relationship. When you're in the car, put the cell phone away. Have a conversation instead. So look for times to invite your child into your world and look for times to get into their world. But end those times very, very specifically with some key phrases. Say things like, boy, we sure had fun playing this game together, didn't we? Boy, we make a great team when we work on this together. Use words like we, team, together to highlight the relationship. Quick statement. And if you forget to make it at the end of the night, when you're saying goodnight, give them a hug and a kiss. Say, hey, by the way, I had a great time. We really do have fun when we do X together, don't we? So you can still say the same statement. You can say 2 days later, I was thinking about, if you didn't say it. But that type of investment in relationship is going to help this 12-year-old who's bottling up his emotions, because he might not be feeling safe. He might not know how to express his emotions, but having relationship is one of the foundational elements he needs, especially in these years where he's transitioning into manhood, because we're going to be talking about a lot of other stuff too together. The next thing you want to do beyond relationship, you want to start normalizing the conversation around emotions. He might not have the vocabulary. We might need to teach him emotional language. We might need to navigate him through that to understand that it's okay to have feelings, that God gave you emotions. Emotions are not bad. Emotions are good. Emotions are in the heart. They're a gift from God. The only thing bad about emotions is not the emotion. It's how we use them. If we use them as signals, that's fine. If we use them to take action, well, that's wrong. Emotions are the signals to get us to start thinking about how we should take action. He might not know that yet, and he might not have the emotional vocabulary for him to navigate that quite yet. So we want to work on giving him the emotional vocabulary that he needs. Help him identify emotions in himself, emotions in you all, emotions in the world around him. When you're watching movies and things like that, talk about the character. Whoa, how do you think she really looks upset? How do you think she's feeling? You, whatever the conversation might look like, to start normalizing that. At the dinner table, go around the table. Tell me one thing that made you feel peaceful today. Tell me one thing that made you feel excited today. Tell me one thing that you were disappointed about this week. Normalize emotion conversations. That's going to start helping him open up. Relationship, normalizing conversations, some education around emotions, all that connecting is going to start creating the space to open up. Finally, we need to be in prayer. We need to be praying for our sons and our daughters during these times, because one of the best tools that the enemies of God try to use on our kids is isolation. They try to tell our kids that parents don't get them. They're just too old. They don't get it. They don't understand. They try to isolate our kids away from us. Discipleship matters, and parenting is discipleship 24/7. And so we want to be involved in our kids' lives and connected with them. The enemies of God want to stop that. So we need to be in prayer. We need to be praying about our relationships. We need to be coming against those dark powers and principalities that are trying to take our kids away. They don't have any power anymore. Did you catch that? Go read the Great Commission, where Jesus, before he leaves, his last words to his disciples are, go into all the world, good news to every tribe, tongue, and nation. We all remember that part, but we often forget what came right before it. Right before it, he looks at his disciples and says, all authority in heaven and earth has been given to me. Well, who had it before him? Well, if you know your Old Testament, you know that those dark powers and principalities had it. What did Jesus do between the crucifixion and the resurrection? He got all authority back. And now he's giving it to us. All authorities with Jesus. They have none. This is a lost cause. These dark powers, they don't have any power left, and they know it. The only power the enemies of God have is the power you and I give them when we fear. That's it. Otherwise, this is lost. Have you ever watched a sports game, where one team is blowing the other team out of the water, and the score is way out of whack, and you're like, oh man, they just need to end this. That's on the spiritual level. That's the game between the kingdom of light and the kingdom of darkness. Kingdom of light has already won. The only thing left is waiting for the time on the clock to tick off. And the only hope that the enemies of God have is that the clock isn't up yet, so they can still do some damage. But they don't have any authority, any power. So we need to come up against them in the prayer closet of our lives and pray over our kids, that we'd be connected and known with them, and that this relationship would open up, because we don't want to have to push our way in. We want our kids to open the doors and invite us in. Thank you so much for that question.